Supernova, slow. You tell it with a bullet when I wreck that A. Juice up, I'm a sonic and a balance and bionic as a motherfucker straight show shit from your brain. Juice up, from the inner to the outer, never bother. I'm a winner, inner to the inner healer. And a whole lot of shine, and a whole lot of fly, and a little bit of pretty speak on the beat, make a pretty woman peep to the top, show no to the rock, now stop, A, make me say A, juice. Supernova sound, look at this, no fear. Air, we superior, speed of venom till this motherfucker lock down the radius. Can't nobody do this better, we the better. Supernova people come and keep it banging like a million suns. A, juice. A, juice. A, juice.
Hero, I mean Heru, make you take two A-dudes, break through, get in a breakdown, system shakedown, drive through the valley in the dead with a top down, make a nigga wanna go pimp-o, make a nigga wanna fling them O, that is if I was your friend, pose then as your friend, this cycle's got to end, these rappers like pretend that they gonna win, but if they don't get in, I'll be the type to rap that mic and then they people understand, there ain't no style, there ain't no beat that I can't get up in. Juice, 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 man, Duca's here. We call Aces running here. Strong like Loki, strong like Bear. Buzz like bees, CPGs. Strong like a nation of B's and C's. Get on your knees, kiss this ring. When they come out, angels sing. Dance like a forward out the ring. Bringing that Brooklyn council flame. Shorty, we don't shut the thing. High rappers up like ball and string. Change them seasons, winter, spring. Aces come and niggas is running. Cause we black kings have to run it. Because we come to run it. These niggas know we on it.
Soul from the back, force in the shack. Souls in the bowl, let it bang like a jack. 6 seconds, demon, these men so black. Beat them like a say when they hit it with 3. Hit them on the ship, let it bitch walk speed. Shot by the grave to the red, blue, green. Back to the end, you don't want none of me. I'm the menacing man from a Heru clan. With a whole lot of melanin, super darkness. Till the things from the squawk. From my heart, take apart. Anybody trying to bring it to the leaders of the thunder. We the storm, we the eye, do or die. Gonna ride, gonna fight. Open motherfucker, we the deuce. Hey, deuce, we the truth. Supernova, and I'm banging interstellar. We the brothers from another motherfucker. And we rap, hey, deuce. Hey, deuce. Hey, juice, juice,
You are live on Super Heru Radio. It is me, Aseer the Duke of Tears, with my brother, Saga Ali.
Hello,
we're here on, what is it, the 8th day of February. I hope everybody out there is listening clear. So many things have been going on, you know, so many things have been activated that we all need to build on and to almost be thankful for too, you know. Saga, you there? Can you hear me? Sorry, you can hear me?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, you know, so many things, man. You know, first of all, you know, let's pick up the Saints. They came marching in, which means New Year's going to be tight. March is going to be a good year. Excuse me, a good month for us. It's actually New Year, you know. What's been up with you, homie?
Same old, you know, watching the current events as they unfold and, you know, keeping a close eye on different types of activities that's going on, but yet still, you know, understanding, you know, my personal role in certain things and how certain things, you know, can only affect me if I allow it to. Really and true.
That's true, man. We was down here, like we've been down here, you know, in Miami for a minute now, maybe about 6, 7 months, and we've been kind of like watching this whole thing unfold, from before the earthquake, from what was going on with the terrorists they trying to triumph in New York, and to now the earthquake, the post-earthquake parties. And people don't realize, too, ritualistically, it was a perfect climate, for, like, when I saw that they caught those so-called church members at the border in Haiti, I knew the face was going to win. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was like the ancestors were like, oh, no, you're not going to get all these babies, You're not going to be able to just take them all and, ritualize them like you do.
Mm-hmm.
So it also, to me, showed on a universal level that we actually care about, what happens to us. Because a lot of times when you see these celebrities and these so-called personalities come out and you see them doing things for black people, you don't really see black people doing that. Or when they do, you don't really hear about it. You know what I'm saying? They want to almost advertise it like these Caucasian people are out here always helping you, and it's like their people is not really doing anything, which further creates the, mentality or the perception that we're not human, excuse me, as well as, like, to be able to project this fictitious reality that we as original people are so callous towards each other that we don't really care, because whenever you really see celebrities, black celebrities, on TV, they're always bickering or, making records about each other, or, you know what I'm saying, or buffooning or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
As well as the fact that the more celebrities like Clooney and Bono and these people do, as much as it's about, helping the people, you could bet every one of them people, if you check their tax return next year, they're going to cite this as a write-off. You know what I mean? They're involved in that, they definitely get their check back from that. So don't think that these people are, doing this from the kindness of their heart. Like, some of them may genuinely be doing that. Like, I don't necessarily subscribe to the idea that everyone that's in Hollywood is necessarily on that. What I'm saying is that Hollywood is based on that. So whether you know about it or not, you're still a part of it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, if you join the Army, I mean, essentially your job is to kill people. That's what the Army's for. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Say again?
I said no matter, if you join to get some money to go to college or, to learn a trade or whatever, essentially your job is to go somewhere and put the smack down, Exactly.
Yeah. That's what you have to do. So, when you take away all of the hype and the pomp and circumstance from it, essentially what you're talking about is imperialism. So essentially, the whole earthquake, from the earthquake to Katrina to Angola to Grenada to Dahomey to Rwanda to where else? Ethiopia to, like, they just like people don't even realize they putting everybody back in the mind frame that everybody was in 82, 83, to the point where they done We Are the World again. You know what I mean? Like they didn't do a new song, they didn't remix it. You know what I'm saying? It's the same shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? Only thing now, Michael's gone. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So, they can now have control of the music industry because essentially they are the world. You know what I mean? Like this guy, allegedly, this white club guy actually put it out to the MTV people. Look, he's like, look, if you have any other Haitian people down with this shit publicly like that, I ain't really gonna fuck with it. This is what's being put out there about this dude. You know what I'm saying? Just like they was putting out that his company was flipping all that money and not giving it to nobody. Whether he is or he isn't, I think it's irrelevant. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because what I see is him walking through the trenches with, Jason Bourne and what's this dude's name? You're fucking Bono, you know.
Anderson Cooper.
Yeah, Gloria Vanderbilt's son, right?
Mhm.
Fucking Sasso and Jeans and shit. Like this is what's going on. These are the people who's saving the world. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's to the point where, once again with the whole saint thing though, looking at it from the perspective of what the saints represent, with the black and gold, that's the whole universal flag thing. Then you got the fact that it's the floor of the Louvre, which is really a symbol of the pineal, hypothalamus, and pituitary. But most layman people will say it's about the whole, Merovingian, Frankish, Charlemagne dynasty, whatever. And, it is that too, but essentially the essence of what it is representative of the people who have become saints based on the ritualistic murders that have been taking place, being that the powers that be are choosing to use weather manipulation as a form of warfare, and they're using humanitarian aid as a means of regime change and nation building. You know what I'm saying? So essentially, they are doing what they always been doing. It's just that, again, people don't know history, fail to repeat it. Like Atlantis fell from weather manipulation and stuff like that. So, they already know what it already is. It's just more. I'm just more looking at like us. So when they finally won, in the 43rd Super Bowl, being 7, then they black and gold. That's the universal flag. You know what I mean? Like it's the same energy now, and then all of the dead people, spirit-wise, on the subatomic level, are attracted based on all of the music behind them is doing right on the coast, bringing all that energy in to New Orleans. That happens to be the second largest population of Haitian people in the so-called United States. So they was bound to win over the cult of death.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because horses also represent nightmares, and a cult is also a gun.
Yep.
It's also a liquor.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Also a gun again, Colt 45.
Exactly. Which is born. So they were trying to reborn themselves based on all of the, sacrifice they've been doing recently or whatever, under the mask of their black president. You know what I mean? Because he's allowing him being there is a way for everybody to be like, well, there's no such thing as racism no more. And it's like,
and then you still have Bush,
yeah,
on the Saints, but this one is Reggie.
Exactly. Bush again, right? Bush doing another disaster to surround black people. Yet still, and then he's caught up in the KKK, which is the Chloe, Kim, and what's her name? See what I'm saying?
Yeah, and there's a whole bunch of controversy behind that because they let Kim Kardashian come on the field when she's, they only really allow family members to come on the field after, the game. And he was pretty tight because they just kept on asking him questions about her, like she upstaged him.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? But that's the ritual, and her shitting on him, showing them that he is still basically a boy. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But because he's been bred to only see Caucasoid women as a means of financial acceptance, he has allowed himself to be that. So then what he does is he got his next jump off, walk through his crib with with the camera, blowing Kim up, because that's his way to, throw it in her face. When essentially it's all, which is all a distraction, again, to take away from the overall spiritual aspect of what's also going on, because what you're seeing with him and Kim is basically Othello. You know what I'm saying? Which again is the Moor, which is again is the Saints, which again is the Merovingians, which again is the Habsburgs, which again is the, Holy Roman, so-called Black Bavarian nobility empire, which was infiltrated, through also parts of the Armenian or Kurdish people in that sense. It's representative now of Kim Kardashian in this age. You see what I'm saying? In which now he and her basically lead the team again into victory. But really, the victory was already set based on all of the original people that, you know, been sacrificed in that sense.
Yeah.
Because now they are all, you know, ancestors, immediate ancestors who know what went down. Especially when we know, because when we build on it, they then come into our central nervous systems and then allow us, you know, greater understanding on what it is we build on. That is, if we really are looking in the right place, you know.
Yeah.
What do you think about this? You hear about this thing with this guy? Who's this guy? The Afghanistan thing. They took it about, you know, they're gonna have to be there for about 10 more years, which means they're gonna have to commit another 350,000 troops. And they still ain't got an exit for Iraq. You see what I'm saying?
They're not. That whole thing is not, you know, and this is all in, you know, my opinion. They're not trying to get up out of there. You know what I'm saying? They're not trying to get up out of Afghanistan. They're not trying to get up out of Iraq. They just started to go into Yemen. Like, come on, like, you know what I'm saying? They're not going anywhere. You know, they're going to send more people over there to fight, you know, in this quote unquote, you know what I'm saying, holy war that they're fighting against Muslims and all that. Like when you do the backstory and all that stuff, you get to see, like, a lot of those people that even the, you know, quote unquote, extremist Muslims are following their doctrines. Those people was in the CIA.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like they was that was a whole op. You know what I'm saying? Albert Pike spoke about that years ago. He said the Third World War would be against Islam. He said you're gonna get them to rile up, you know what I'm saying, under the guise of religion.
Right.
You know?
He did say that. And it's funny you brought up Pike. I meant to tell you earlier when we was talking earlier. You know that they got a Jimi Hendrix memorial on the corner of Broadway and Pike Street?
Really?
Yeah, I forget what state it's in. But there's some
right,
elaborate shit.
Thing owns all his stuff. The dude from Microsoft owns all his stuff.
Yeah, but guess what? Mike was in the process of buying all that back.
Yeah, of course. Mike knew the game. You know what I'm saying? That's why they really had to get him up out of here. Because Mike was getting everybody masters. He was controlling the Beatles, Eminem. You know, they wasn't feeling it. You know what I'm saying? Because Mike knew what the game really was.
Speaking of which, the doctor, there's always a doctor. The doctor, Conrad Murray now, is allegedly going to be charged of some manslaughter shit. He probably going to have to do some probation. But, again, people, he's the bag man. He's not the dude who made the hit. That guy, those people are somewhere else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then again, those people in the face every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kanye, the doctor. Icelos, who was the doctor for Bob Marley, who was torturing him towards the end of his life. He was given some boots by a guy named Lulu, who was a so-called Panther, and gave him them boots, and they had a carcinogenic toxin in it, which immediately hurt his foot. And then when it got progressively worse, that's when he hooked up with Icelos through Chris Blackwell, MI5, and what's his name? Richard Branson, a.k.a. Virgin, a.k.a. Virgin Space Company.
Yep.
Anyway, they hooked up and hooked him up with Icelos, because Icelos allegedly was the first one on that new wave so-called vegetarian movement. That's the basis of diet today. You know, whether people, even meat eaters on that have to be on vegetarian. They have to accept that now. You see what I'm saying? Because through the vegetarianism, through Icelos' work specifically, they were able to take real food out, you know, and replace it with substitutes. So when Bob came in, he came in on that tip, and they wound up turning that shit into some torturous chemo shit and eventually killed him. Icelos, by the way, was the butt boy of Dr. Green, a.k.a. Mengele. So again, same people doing the same shit. You know what I mean? Over and over. You know, people be, you know, I'll be watching these pundits on TV talking about progression and making changes and all this, and it seems like the same people making the changes are the same people who made the changes the last time.
Yeah, exactly. The same people who said they was making changes and fucked some shit up is the same ones who coming back now to fix it.
Yeah.
You know, under the guise of fucking it up again and then coming back again and trying to fix it.
There's a woman named Leslie Garber, Gaarber, and she's allegedly up for some type of merit award or whatever. People really don't know her, but they see her work every day, and to the point where people, thousands, if not millions of people are clamoring to do it. She is the inventor of the reality show. She, again, another little, student, the little schoolgirl, with Dr. Green, just like Margaret Sanger, who was cool with W.E.B. Du Bois, and they worked out the whole, black sterilization program that became the Tuskegee experiment, But again, it's Black History Month. I'm seeing all of the great shit he did, but ain't nobody talking about all this shit that screwed everybody up. This is what I mean,
You know what I'm saying? There's a war on the black family. You know what I'm saying? They don't want no black men to be with no black women, no black women to be with no black men. Every time you look up, you got some other rapper with some booty shaking video or how low can you go and all this other types of, things and whatnot. It's like, what are you propagating to the children? Not even the children. Let's just say the youth. You know what I'm saying? What are you propagating to the youth? The young dudes between, let's just say, 18 and 30. You know what I'm saying? Like what's going through their minds when they see all these types of things? You know what I'm saying? Like they look at, for his part, I would say that, the so-called white man, he knows how to position himself when it comes to the demeaning and the debauched things that they do with their women. They do that in pornography. You know what I'm saying? Or they do that behind closed doors. You wouldn't know that, your next door neighbor and his wife be swinging and having all these freaking, black dudes coming to their house and cuckolding his wife and all these other types of things that's going on now. You know what I mean? But when it comes to, the original family, you get that on Front Street. You know what I'm saying? You get that right in front of your face. You get it in videos. You know what I'm saying? They had the brother who was on American Idol who had the pants on the ground, get your pants off the ground, and all that other type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? That brother performed at the Grammys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On it.
They gearing up to put out an album with that brother. You know what I mean? And I'm not taking nothing away from him, but I mean, come on, within, let's say, the last 2 to 3 years, how many black brothers you be seeing with their pants on the ground now? Like, all the black brothers is rocking them super tight jeans now. They're not even riding their pants on the ground no more.
Exactly, and that gangsta-licious shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But this is what I'm saying. It's once the agenda became to demoralize the so-called American populace, being black America and white America, they enslaved both to these false images of each other to keep them both at odds. You know what I'm saying? And the thing with the Pogozoids is that they push themselves to the limit based on the fact that they ancestrally are the descendants or the remnants of those I'm talking about the ones that's allegedly running stuff, because they're not even in control, but, the usual suspects that everybody reads about and all these people. But regardless of who or what they are, they're still embodiments or examples of an agenda, you see what I'm saying, that is so outdated based on all of the stuff that's happening in terms of planetary changes, cognitive changes, internal changes of people, that the only way to maintain it is to support it. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's not even like these people, this is why they're so destructive. You know what I'm saying? To the point where, like tomorrow, they locking this dude up. Your man Wayne.
Yeah, Lil Wayne, yeah.
I've seen this nigga baby, man, with stacks of money. Like real money. Like euros and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm looking at this, real money to those people. So I'm looking at that, I'm like, but that's when I did the knowledge, like, you got all this money with no influence. These niggas can only influence the sphere that they're allowed to influence. You know what I'm saying? Them niggas cannot keep no niggas out of jail, man. They had some new age white man. They're killing these new age black people too like crazy. They got these new age white men who had a sweat lodge in the Midwest somewhere, and niggas was dying in the sweat. Niggas was dying. He wasn't letting niggas out. He was basically torturing people, which again, some fucking mind control thing that's perpetuating. And everybody's just assuming, oh, this nigga's crazy, and they're not charging him with murder.
No, of course not. New Jonestown.
That's how you know it's an op. They're not even charging him with murder. They're charging him with manslaughter, voluntary manslaughter. He could get out in like 2 years.
Yeah, you know he bounced from the scene. He just dipped. He ain't stayed here. They ain't arrested him. He left. What was it? I think it was in Arizona or something like that. He left there and went back to Cali or wherever he's stationed out of. And then he came back and flipped the script and said he had a shaman, and the shaman was speaking to the souls of the people that passed away, and the shaman was saying that the people was like, we left our bodies and we don't want to come back.
You see? You see what these Caucasian people is doing to people? They had a sister out there who was down with this pseudo green glove yoga cult. I'll get to what the green glove means in a minute. But they got this yoga cult out there. These niggas was having this black woman do all of this exercise during the day, and then they was making these people make hikes with like rocks in their backs and shit. And they had to take it up this mountain. This is a minute ago, but it's still. You know, I'm just expressing or showing what rituals and how they be hooking people up in it. And this sister was carrying these rocks up this thing and would just wind up dropping dead. And none of them going to jail because, again, she voluntarily put herself under their jurisdiction to do that. You know what I'm saying? This sister goes from like the hood. You know what I mean? Like she's not like some suburban, boule type chick, like a regular chick. She wound up dead behind this thing, and nobody got no thing. Just like 2 years ago, when one of these battleships came into the port of New York, they had a black man hanging from the bow of the ship. You know what I mean? Dead. You know what I mean? Full uniform and everything. You know what I mean? For everybody to see. And the family still can't get no justice behind that. Nobody even know what happened with that. You see what I'm saying? This is what they're doing to y'all, black people, you know what I mean, or people who consider themselves black, because me being a Moor, if I say, use that in a certain way, you see what I'm saying? That triggers. See, it's all about triggers with everybody, because we are all so come up in one of these various forms of programming. We are all products of it. I don't give a damn how old you are, how young you are. You know what I mean? Everybody is born up in that. And unless you are deprogramming yourself and understanding what your triggers are individually, you are a danger to yourself and the people around you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's real like that. Like, you got to start asking people real shit. Like, were you born a human? Were you born a man? Were you born a woman? Were you, do you know who your father was? Do you know who your mother was? Have you ever had sex with an animal? Are you an alien? Like, you need to start asking people shit, man. Because this hypersexuality mixed with this ultra-violence, all coming out of Tavistock, Clockwork Orange type shit, is making people go to the extreme in everything.
Yep.
So, like, you ever notice, you know what I'm saying? You ever notice you be talking to somebody just doing some regular shit, and you say something, and they just take it all out of proportion?
Yeah.
Like, yo, I'm just talking to you. But everything you say is like, yeah. You see?
There's no room for discussion. There's no room for dialogue or nothing like that. It's either this or nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And this is what I mean. Like, when was it that if I say that, let's say I am a Moor, that means that I am all of the things that other people associate with what those things are? Is it more important that I know what that is for me, or more important that other people know what that is? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And this is the things that a lot of our elders and scholars, in the thing, are not conveying to the people. You know what I mean? It seemed like it's just like a free-for-all now. Like, you know what I mean? It's like everybody got it. And everybody can come out with, I think, everybody should come out with an album. Fucking DVD, an album, musically. If you can conceptualize what you sound like in a musical form, I think it allows you to hear what you sound like. People who record and into music know what I mean by that. It's a more of a thing like, it's an experience that allows you to go within and bring out truthful aspects. Even if there's some type of fantasy involved in it, there's still something that's coming out of you. And we as individuals, especially original people, it's like we forgot how to like have fun in recording, you know? It's like, listen to how these people rhyme about hip-hop now as opposed to how they rhymed about it in 82 and 83. It's a whole other thing. There was a reverence, you know? And the more we treated it like a whole, the more our respect for ourselves devalued. To the point that it is what it is now. And it's not to say that a lot of the ignorant shit don't sound good. Some of it does, you know? But it's still, is this the best you could do? Like, if you was to really step to one of these niggas, if you see them out in the street or whatever, and you got this CD, instead of asking for be like, yo, is this the best you could have done? Like, really holler at them. Because these niggas,
they'll probably, you know, give you, you know what I'm saying, they won't come out right, you know what I'm saying, exact at that point, but, you know, they got people they got to answer to, you know.
Oh, who's that, though? Who do they have to answer to?
They got people they got to answer to. Some people got to answer to Jimmy. Some people got to answer to Liar. Some people, you know, we can go on and on with that for days, but
so
you can't just go out there and say whatever you want to say.
So what you're talking about now is extortion RICO Act type shit.
You know what I'm saying? You can't go out there and say what you want to say. There was a brother, I can't remember his name at the moment, but he was signed to T.I.'s label, Grand Hustle, and he was normally known for, you know, gangster, quote-unquote gangster rap or whatever, and he was getting out of that. He said he got older, he got tired of things, some of his friends died, and he turned in an album straight on some positive stuff, you know what I'm saying, straight up on some, you know, what they want to call conscious, you know, hip-hop or whatever. And you know what T.I. and them told him? It was like, no, we can't put this out right now.
Right?
You know what I'm saying? Straight up, it was like, you know, when the time is ready, we'll put this one out. But when a person tells you that, automatically what they're telling you is, no, we're not putting this shit out ever. You know what I'm saying? That's how we're going to tell you when the time is right. So every time you come and say, hey, is the time right? They're going to tell you no. You know what I'm saying? It's like the kid asking for more gruel. It's like, if you want to give me more scratch, he would give you more scratch. You know what I mean? But they like, nah, we're going to give you this much. You know what I'm saying? You're going to eat that, and then you're going to be happy. Don't come back here no more. You know, restaurants closed.
You're right. That's something else that I was doing in knowledge too. Like when we stop focusing, see, like what I like about this is that what I always wanted the show to be like when I thought about doing it was something where it's like we could just be like talking. So when people call in, when we have the call-in section, you know, when they call in, you know, don't look at it like, you know, it's like you're calling into a radio station. You know, look at it like you're calling us at the crib. We just talking about some shit that went down. Because essentially, this is how we all heal at the same time, you know. Because most of the people who are into the type of things that we be building on are people who are usually well-liked, at the same time well-hated, you know, by people who love them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And this is a real thing that we in the so-called black community, historically, in all of the books that I've read about it, about the so-called black experience, I never read a book in a black experience that was coming out of the so-called black intellectual academia, right, that put out stuff that talked about, you know, ritualistic satanic abuse of children, or the truth of the Tuskegee experiment, or any of that type of stuff, you know. And those that actually came out with stuff like that at that time were always marginalized as so-called conspiracy theorists. You see what I'm saying? And because we as original people are usually led to whatever the white man say is what it is, you know what I mean? And I mean, when I say that, I'm talking about also white folk. White folk believe the bullshit that they know they people be talking, just to stay white. And that's what I'm trying to say. Anybody that's on a color vibration when it comes to humanity is dealing with the illness. You see what I'm saying? So when I say the white man, I gotta qualify it as to what it is I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the average white man on the street, but guess what? If given a situation where a black man is in the wilderness or some shit and a white man in the wilderness, they will have two different experiences. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I've seen it on Survivor. You know what I mean? To keep it real. Quinn was talking about this black man, this black woman was on there, and these white people was on there, and the black woman was like, yo, I can't even stand myself. And it's like, I'm bugging that these guys could smell like that and be sleeping on top of each other and shit like that. I had one white girl, she said, oh, a rat, and just ran and grabbed the rat. You know what I'm saying? But the black man was out there with his spear fishing. You see what I'm saying? See, that's the next thing. That don't necessarily mean that the black man was better. He may be more savage mentally, you see what I'm saying, than that white man in another situation. I'm just saying the base nature of us as a people is different. You dig what I'm saying? Like, you cannot tell me that I descend or I'm in the same so-called racial or human group as people who eat black people's pineal glands, eat black babies, molest black children, white children, Asian children. Like, it doesn't matter. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you can't tell me. Like, it's on YouTube. Matter of fact, big up to the person who sent me this thing on YouTube. Somebody sent me a thing on YouTube where these Chinese people was cooking these babies. Anytime you hear white folks start talking about delicacy and you eating with them, you better leave because you may be eating somebody. I'm serious, yo. But what they did, they created the Tarzan shit to make niggas think, oh, we used to see white people in the jungle and cook them in pots. Like, you don't even understand what we was doing when we was doing that. That's what I'm trying to say. We are so detached based on a lot of the things that is the trauma that we are to a point where we'll believe anything. You know what I'm saying? If it sounds good, we'll believe anything, you know? And at times, you get so deep in the information, it got to get to a point. That's how I know the spirit works, because the spirit is there to help you really balance it out, you know, and let you kind of really disseminate on a heart level the truth from the falsehood, because you could get wrapped up. I know people from this knowledge who have gone insane. You understand what I'm saying? You know, some of them that's actually, some of them out there actually, you know, doing work with the people. I come out and say that to them, it's the people. You see what I'm saying? You see, but see, this is when elders were supposed to be there. Yet it's still at the same time, like, how can I, you know? It's like, it's not for anybody. That's what I'm trying to say. An elder told me once, they say, yo, if you want to find a guilty person, go in the street and throw a rock. He said whoever it hit is probably down. You got your mark. He said it's probably down with it. So imagine in the industry, let's say the rap industry. And the reason why I think a lot of times people like us will talk about the rap industry, because that affects the so-called black community directly, you know.
Yeah.
The same way back in the days when somebody would say some shit about Marvin Gaye or, you know, Bill Withers. Niggas would pay attention, you know. I mean, Donny Hathaway talked about how the CIA was bombarding him with ELF, and they would hear his voices, had people talking about trying to kill him.
And what happened to him?
Look what happened to him. They threw him out of a hotel window and said he jumped out.
You know what I'm saying?
Niggas believe that shit. Oh, Tupac was in the gang, East Coast, West Coast. Oh, he did it. There has never been one rap murder solved.
Yeah.
But you mean to tell me they could find all the murders and all the guns that these niggas allegedly got on them? Come on, man. Somebody snitching. Not only somebody snitching, a lot of times these niggas be on the tape early. People don't realize that there was a actual program where when they realized what the hip-hop thing was going to do after the post-NWA thing, all of that was an op, man. Do people even know that the FBI was founded by Napoleon Bonaparte's 13th grandson, Charles Bonaparte? Like, this is what's going on, man. Like these are the things, again, in our community that when I look around, the church ain't building on none of this shit. Cause which then leads me to believe that niggas is down with it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Look at the homie. He running around talking about Bookman, talking about Haiti sold Haiti. You know what I'm saying? Made a deal with the devil to get free, and then they just bring him up talking about he was trying to save Charles Taylor to get the gold out of Liberia.
See? Pat Robertson. You know what I'm saying? Pat Robertson, yeah, because he's a big time. People don't know Pat Robertson used to be the Grand Cyclops of the Klan. People don't know that Pat Robertson was the nigga that initiated Prescott Bush into the damn Klan, man. Like, this thing goes way back. But people don't even understand the Klan shit. The Klan don't even understand the Klan shit. Keep it real. They don't even understand what that shit is really, really, really about. How it ties into the 9th degree and the 96th degree and the order of the trapezoid and all that other shit. You know what I'm saying? This nigga spending millions of dollars trying to get a whiff of the damn paperwork. You know what I mean? Like, they charge niggas shit like this. Those you got money, they'll say, okay, you can come to the Vatican Library and shit, right? But then there's certain rooms where you got to give certain penance to get in, or you got to do certain shit to get in. You know what I mean? Like people think that with these rock and roll stars, when they started peeing on people and they were spitting on people, people think that what they created that. No, Aleister Crowley created all that shit. That's what he used to do to his followers. He used to pee on them and jerk off on them in their face and stuff. And while they was having sex, beat them and stuff. He's the one who created all that. He used to save his semen. You know, he used to take these pills, and my father used to give them. There's a book you can get called Secret Agent 666 by Richard somebody, and he used to hold Richard. I ain't in a library, but I know the book is called Secret Agent 666. But he used to save his semen in a bucket over a month. And then when he would have the grand ritual, while everybody was fornicating, he would pour his semen all over that. He would charge people. They would pay him money. He would jerk off in pills and send it to people, and they would take it like vitamins. Like, this is the type of stuff white folk do.
And they would eat the cakes and all of
that. They still doing it. There's a lot of white folk being born with tails they ain't telling you about. There's a lot of white folk that just walk around with hair in their mouth. They ain't talking to you about that. You won't know unless you tell them. I'll never know. You know what I'm saying? God willing, you know, but this is how real it is. And I'm not saying that that's bad. I'm just saying I'm not dealing with that. Because I know the difference between myself and them. You see what I'm saying? So I can be cool with everybody, you know? And me and you talking about this, but I can be cool with everybody. It's just that when it comes to certain things, there's a certain guidelines that I have to have for their safety. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes white folk, you could be around white folk, and this is for anybody. This is not just black people. It's Mexican people, Chinese people, Korean people. First of all, anybody that's Asian is Japanese. That's how racist the white man is. And he got us believing this shit too. We can't even tell the difference, you know? But anybody that's of some type of ethnic background, they'll know. They'll be around white folk and be chilling or whatever, and then they just say some off-the-cuff racist shit. Right? And then that's when it's about you. That's when it stops being about them and it's about the person that you are. Because then as a white person, right, or a person that's maybe trying to pass and not trying to pass, you're either going to get down with it or you're going to be offended and then step away. Most white folk be down with it. And that's why they fucked up.
Yep.
See what I'm saying? So it's not about, so they be racist with their own people. White folks don't like Jews. They'll take Jews' money. They'll protect Jews for money, but they don't like them. And why don't they like them? Because back in the days when we was in power, we was enslaving everybody, and because they was the ones who took the civilization first through Judaism around the year 800 under their king called Kagan Joseph, they got together and more from Grenada allowed them to practice Judaism, a version of Hebrewism, which is why to this day Jews go to Hebrew school, because they're learning how to be Jews. So they went from the Ashkenazim to the Khazars to the Nazis, right, to the Yehudas, to the Jews. So that's why they can get their money and do their thing, because they put in enough work. And that's why white folk never forgot that when it came to enslaving them and getting the money, they finder's fee, that was the Jews getting it.
Yep.
For us. That's why Jews, see, a white man won't give you a job, right? A Jew will give you a job, but he won't pay you what you're worth.
Yep.
See, this is the old school shit black folks used to school the youngsters like us to the game. But you know, Jesse Jackson ain't talking to me about this shit.
You know what I mean? No, they
Jesse Jackson ain't talking about this shit.
No, that's not happening. Al Sharpton ain't doing that. You know what I mean?
No, they're not.
Charles Barron ain't talking about that.
Charles Barron ain't talking to me about that. As many times I see that brother, he keep it moving. He be like, "Hey, what's up, brother? All right, keep it. All right."
We gotta go boycott Obama chicken.
Many times, we gotta go boycott Obama chicken. Like Obama don't eat chicken. I got the roster. I got the roster from the last big NBC dinner, and the first 3 for Black History Month. Guess what the menu was?
Fried chicken.
Fried chicken, number 1. What was number 2? See, did I tell you about this before?
Nah, don't tell me it was Kool-Aid or something like that.
You did know. What's the second one?
Don't tell me it's collard greens. Kool-Aid. What's the third one?
What's the third one?
You said some corn. They got some corn up there, some biscuits.
Yeah.
You know
fried chicken, collard greens, and cornbread. That was the first 3 things on the fucking menu.
I know that. You know what I mean? I'm fucked up.
Come on, man. This is NBC.
That's how they celebrate Black History Month.
This is how we celebrate Black History Month, man. That's like the only.
And then they got but then I thought they had the root. I thought the roots was there. I thought we had our roots there.
Yeah, the roots was there, right? They played for Jimmy Fallon. That whack ass.
I thought our roots was there.
Yeah, these niggas drive from Philadelphia every fucking day to do this show.
Really?
Yeah, I said drive. You ain't asked for no limo, nigga. What
did
they
put you up in a
That's why they ain't give us no money yet. What you say? That's what I'm saying.
They just going back and forth with Conan O'Brien and Jay Leno. You know,
see, right after Bill Cosby came on.
Yeah.
Big up the Supernova Slum. You know, he came on with the positive hip-hop thing. That's another thing, man. Y'all MCs that's listening on the low, I got people listening so you can get the damn 411 from it, man. Stop hating on the homies, man. Stop hating on the brothers and sisters that's coming out and giving an alternative to what's going on. Because people can, now, the whole Bill Cosby thing, from my ear on it, was basically that Cosby was doing this thing because he wanted to put out some positive hip-hop thing or whatever. Whether people liked it or not is irrelevant. The fact that a person of that ilk, and I mean E-L-K, like elk, of a person that could get involved with it like that and could actually fund his own money from it means that he didn't get sanctioned from his taskmasters up at, the Hershey Highway 101, So these dudes basically put out like a boycott, man, and all of the so-called positive dudes that these dudes allegedly stepped to get down with the project, these niggas was like, nah, we can't do it. And I mean the 4 horsemen, the Most Def, the Most Def, Common, who's the other one, Talib, and who's the other one? Death Threat. Yeah, they get them all together. Yeah, there's a reason why whenever you think of positive rap, you only think about them. That's part of the game too, man.
Yeah.
And I ain't saying the brothers and sisters playing it, but they definitely involved in the sense of their images being used in these manipulative ways to make it seem like there's a decisiveness when it comes to hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
And because my brother, big up again, Supernova Slum, He got an album out now, just coming out called The Remedy. Check it out, www.supernovasalon.com. When we were recording the A Deuce album that's coming out too, me and him together, we would run into these dudes and, you know, get shows and things like that. And there's always this so-called glass ceiling with this when it comes to this rap shit that didn't exist when I was out on the street corner with the cardboard, you know, and cops was coming through cutting up the cardboard and throwing the linoleum in the back of the truck, tearing up niggas' pieces and shit like that. Now those same pigs is going to international art fairs with graffiti and making money off of all of the graffiti pieces that people like myself and other brothers was going to jail for.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? So a lot of these dudes be chilling with these same niggas. You know what I'm saying? And they be knowing how these dudes get down, and they be like, whatever. I'm sorry. So essentially, this is what I mean with the whole thing. So again, I noticed that right after Nova and them did the Cosby thing, the whole vibe switched, and then he started getting into the shit with Conan and all that.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And let's keep it real, man. Conan's still left with $40 million. This nigga's not hurting. And he gonna get a new job on a new network. So come on, man. It's still white folk bullshit. Y'all niggas is caught up.
You know what I'm saying? At the same time that there was the shifts going on in the industry where now, you know what I'm saying, you got pictures with Puff Daddy with feathers on. You got whole events going on now where you got, you know, whole gamuts of different types of arrangements of artists and, you know, their content coming together and doing shows where before you wasn't getting that at all. You know what I'm saying? Now you getting all these different types of things going on in the whole, you know, music industry, especially, you know, when it comes to hip-hop, where at one point in time, you know, and really very much so, you know, not too long ago, that was not happening. You know what I'm saying? People was getting, you know what I mean, blackballed. You know, and the brother, you know what I'm saying, he himself could speak about it, you know, a certain occasion. Well, we're not going to, you know, really go into that, but, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that goes down. And a lot of people, you know, the listeners, a lot of artists that y'all really like, you know, are closet haters. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They're covert. I don't want these niggas to get no shine.
And I don't mean that they just not hating on like us, you know, as musicians or artists. I'm talking about they hate on their listeners. They hate on their fans, too. Like, don't think that just because you love this person that you don't want to hear anything negative about them or whatever, that they'll make you up like that. That's not what's going on. They call y'all fans for a reason because you fan the flame. The flame is the actual fictitious light or the light that can be snuffed out at any moment.
Yep. Which
is why the whole live fast, die young thing is a part of the whole rock and roll mantra. We could a little bit of history, you know what I'm saying? There was a Moorish painter named Juan de Pareja. This is around the so-called Renaissance, which was what the Caucasians called it. What we called it was the Holocaust, because we were falling victim to our own, let's say, global amnesia, as well as our own individual political ideologies and geographic locations. So this is the beginning of the so-called diaspora. Talking about between, you know, 1527 and 1666. So even though Spain, or let's say Granada was lost, the overall empire was still intact. So Paris still existed and all of that stuff was still going on. And we were still enslaving Caucasoids en masse. Yet with the individual wars that we were going through, individually, collectively, we were losing touch with each other. Even more when it came to commerce, which is why we had to employ the so-called just civilized Yehudas as the money changers, because we was having difficulty giving each other our words and shit like that. Because a lot of things like letters of marque, which was like a mercenary letter that you can get and just steal ships if you want it, whatever. So all of that was going in the so-called old world. In the new world, there was a group of, let's say, nations that existed here. There was the Shoshone, the Montauk, the Blackfoot, the Creeks, the Cree, the Sadagi, which is the Cherokee, the Hopi, the Nape, Anasazi, Adena, the Hokam, the Hopewell, the Mississippian. These are just standard names I'm giving out. Choctaw, Chawasha, Washo, Micmacs, the Saga Moors, the Mohawks, who's the Mohawks, the Mayakas, the Miyamoras, the Yamatilas, the Yucca, the Yamasi, the Supe, the Navajo, the Tomoacan, and the Comanches, right? So over here, they was basically rocking, and they had a government that existed for millennia. You see what I'm saying? They just never named it. So because we never named it, it just existed as that. So when people like William Penn and these people was coming through trying to show his little fake Bible, we showed him the Septuagint, which is the oldest one that existed from before the times of the so-called Phoenicians, when we were called Phoenicians. So he agreed to become a part of an order called the Sons of St. Tammany. Tammany was the great chief that allowed him to come in the Union, you know what I'm saying, and then, or allowed him to become a Mason. So when he became that Mason, he was then trusted with the secret of what the Septuagint meant and what we had over here. We showed him like Philadelphia, things like that. So he wrote about that. He wrote that when he left England, he left Moore speaking the King's English. When he came to America, he met Moore speaking the King's English. The King's English was Latin, or Latin, right? And so we spoke that to such a degree that it used to conjure spirits or whatever. So eventually, they had to make that a so-called dead language. But it's still very powerful, especially, when we do it. So essentially, these Moors in their confederation, the so-called Continental Congress that we read about in history or whatever, had its beginnings amongst these tribes, or these so-called nations, that were broken up into 14 zones and 48 so-called states. See what I'm saying? So essentially, what the Caucasoid called the Iroquois Confederacy was the conglomeration of all of these things, and they were the ones who gave their blessing to the Articles of Association, which became the Articles of Confederation, which became the Eighth Declaration. And attached to that was the Declaration for the Independence of the Colonies. And then history, under their fourth history, they put that together as the Declaration of Independence. But actually, they're two different documents, because the colonies weren't even, like you don't put your dog house in the rider of your contract. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like you don't. If you're doing a contract with money, you don't factor your dog into the deal. Unless you're a dog person like that. So essentially, that's what we did. And because we had already had the practice of so-called using these so-called Jews or money changers as administrators, they basically administrated the creation of the so-called federal state that would act as a tax shelter to protect us from these foreign wars that we was finding ourselves caught up in all the damn time. You see what I'm saying? Based on the Grand War of putting us back in power in Spain, So essentially, everything that we use as a means to facilitate our upheaval, in terms of the diaspora, was actually initially started because we were trying to hook that back up. Not because it was more special than anywhere else, but because that was where both sides of the hemisphere got together to build upon the standing of the so-called Grand War, which was not only the war between the ancients and the moderns, is what Masons call it, but it was the war between those Moors that was allowing these Christian mercenaries to marry into their families and those Moors that weren't, which is exactly what's going on right now.
I know, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So, when we get caught up in, I'm all about being proper, right, and correct when it comes to, language and text and words and stuff. Yet, as an artist, I'm also about free thought and free think. If you want to describe yourself as a black person, I know what that means. You know what I'm saying? But in the court of law, they're going to look at that as something different.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So I'm not going to tell you how to necessarily talk. I can tell you, you know, what can happen if you choose to do it this way or that way. But ultimately, it's up to you.
Yep. Oh.
You know, because I tell you this, you got to use what works in the times of war.
Well, yeah. Whatever tools are at your disposal, you put them to use. You know,
never see white people would make some decals and shit on their car.
Very true. That's very
never.
true. Well, we coming up on the 30-minute mark, so you want to get into this, you know, being that we building a lot about hip-hop and whatnot, you want to get into this joint with the Christian brother that was going at Jay-Z and then come back and open up the phone line?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. So we're gonna be right back, people. So we're gonna get into this joint. Maybe some of you've heard it, some of you may have not, but this is you know, up and coming artist that, you know, has some choice words for Jay-Z. You know, with
the Christian dude, man.
Yeah.
It's Christian dude. He's going in on this dude. It's dope.
So, you know, we're gonna be back, and then we're gonna open up the phone lines. Anybody that, you know, wants to call in, the number is 347-637-1184, excuse me, and just put your hands up, and we'll let you in. All right, so we're gonna go into it.
Yeah. Your boss should have told you I was coming, nigga. Pistol. L-A-V-Y-S-S. Yes. Let's go. Now tell me, am I the only nigga that's sick of Jay? Sick of this frickin' lame? Ain't it a bucket you finna kick any minute of day? Nigga, just claim what you is. I'm hearing that you a Mason, so explain the pyramid that you sit on the stage. Is it the same as what you lift when you bang the rock? Nigga, you rap. How is it that you can pay for rock? Or is it that it's something that's way deeper than we can see? This in Jesus, seeing how naive people can be. Ain't it strange? He repeatedly saying he God, then he got to calling him over the name of God, Jehovah. I studied you, nigga, cause I was a fan, but I'm a fan of the Lord first, so I will be damned if I'ma let you get over. Twist the fan souls up, have them chant Hova for Satan soldier. Hova is what you got them yelling, but they looking to the stage instead of looking up to heaven. I know about you and the Lord to Lima, know about Crowley and the coach you believe in. Homie, I'm a Christian to the core. If you listen, he dissing like every Christian but the yours. So nigga, we finna war. He on top of the column and I'm at the bottom of the bottom. He richer than me in dollars, I'm rich in spirit, I got him. I'm David E. Goliath. The Lord is my power, so I don't need not a dollar to snipe him out of the tower. Is it just in my mind, or is it just that you're blind to the rock of weird designs, new symbolism and signs? And if you listen, you see how much he be dissing God. He ain't saving, he just enslaving his assembly line. Conspiracy, nah, go ahead and look it up. I ain't never been a chef for me to ever cook it up. I just hope people don't brush this off, disregard and cut this off. Now if you're with me to say, you got some explaining to do, my nigga, you got some explaining to do. And I'm listening, cause all the evidence is saying is true. So homie, you got some explaining to do, and I'm listening. I hope you're ready, my Lord is coming for you. And when you have some explaining to do, homie, you gon' have some explaining to do, and we listening. Alright, Jay, I saw your new video. On to the next one. Far from the best one. All black hoodie, white boy, black lipstick, voodoo paint with skulls and blood dripping. They ain't even hip hop, nigga, that's gothic. All black everything, guess he wasn't kidding. And what's with all the black crows? Oh, your girl's a black bird. Satanic symbols flashing when you lack words. 2 flashes of the Baphomet, 1 flash of Christ on the cross with bullets on side marking him. I'm lost again. What it gotta do with the song? And if it doesn't, which it doesn't, then tell me what all you marketing. All black album, how come 99 problems, the song number 9, so the outcome upside down is 3 6s, followed by a song called Lucifer. How did we miss it? What about the missus? Used to be a Christian, now she rock Baphomet heads in the pictures. No, that's Sasha, that's someone different. But what about Rihanna? I heard she with the business. I bet y'all all do songs with Lady Gaga, but as soon as I get in the game, it's Baby Papa. I never called Jay-Z Hova like he be my God. It's only one of those, the Father I call Abba. So watch close if you cherish the Bible. Bury your rifle, carry your Bible, cause the war's on. Seek the truth and stare in your Bible. Quit serving these American idols. If you with me to say, you got some explaining to do. My nigga, you got some explaining to do. And I'm listening, cause all the evidence is saying is true. So on me, you got some explaining to do. And I'm listening, I hope you're ready. My Lord is coming for you. And you have some explaining to do, homie, you gon' have some explaining to do. And we listen.
Kid, moment death if your voice really risen up. I'll explain later. It's the return of the God. Makes it It's the return of the God. Makes it bastards. Hope you've been reading your psalms and chapters. Paying your tithes, being good Catholic. A coming devil's pie. Chase some dessert for us.
Yeah, that was dope. That dude, that Christian dude, eated him, son.
Yeah.
he gave him the Christian ether. That shit was dope.
Yeah, he definitely went in on that one. You know, shouts out to the brother. You know, a lot of other people ain't, you know, building on that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta definitely, you know what I'm saying?
You know, you gotta support, man.
Yeah.
No matter where it's coming from. Niggas talking some real shit. I'm down with that. I don't give a fuck what they're talking about. So long as they don't try to enslave me, or get me to worship them, then I can rock with whatever, man. That's it.
All right. So we're gonna go to the phone lines. You know, I see a few hands up. We got 917-733. You are on with Super Heru Radio. Hello.
Hi. Good evening, you all.
Good evening.
Hey, Queen, how are you?
I'm doing good, thank you. I just wanted to look at some things that you were talking about from a spiritual perspective. I think the bottom line is, with all of the programming and manipulation that is going on throughout media, throughout music, throughout food, throughout history, throughout language, these are all frequencies that have been manipulated and slipped on their heads for the one sole purpose, and that is to drain you of your spiritual energy. In essence, what I'm saying is that the dark people, we were the first ones on the planet, we will be the last ones on the planet. And we have to remember that these are occultists, these are black occultists, and they are using the same deities that the ancestors have used for thousands of years, and flipping that information and turning it into a negative frequency, in essence, pulling from our own, the melaninated people on the planet, pulling from their essence and using that energy to power the negative things that they're doing on the planet. And I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. As far as Haiti is concerned, Haiti was a huge ritual. Tens of thousands of people died, and they pulled from that energy of all of the dead to power their agenda. The same thing is in accordance with New Orleans, and what do they have in common? Those are two Mecca places of original ancestral religion bases, voodoo, and a lot of other things. So they are using those same deities that our ancestors have used, and some of us are still using, and pulling from that energy in order to place themselves in the right geographic location, and also spiritually, because they know that their time is up. So from my perspective, the bottom line is, it's not just with African Americans, it's with all people of all colors of indigenous races, because our ancestors have held the keys to very vital information for the planet. And they've been, from my perspective, scattered across the earth with Africans, with Native Americans, with Asians, and a few other people. So they are literally trying to destroy those communities and use the energy of those individual people to power their agenda. And what makes it very powerful concerning the African American community, and very sad, is that a lot of these artists are a part of this aristocratic club, if that's what you want to call it. and they are using the frequency of music. They are using the frequency of lyrics. They are using the frequency of symbology to pull your energy in order to fulfill their agenda. This is why when you watch television, people go into a certain zone and certain code because they're breaking into your mental subconscious psyche, and they're pulling your energy from that. And that's one of the reasons why I don't watch television personally, because when you watch television, those symbols, advertisers and marketers in the hip-hop industry and other industries understand the symbology of things and the symbology of using that to burn that into your subconscious mind. Therefore, the brand becomes the symbol, an actual being, an identity related to a being. So it's very powerful, and it's very sad that people do not understand this. So in essence, they're creating rituals. So when you go to a concert or you go to even sporting events, the energy of that aggression, that competition, or the energy of you listening to that music in that arena, you're like being used as a battery. Because from my perspective, the bottom line is, regardless of the history, what they devalue, de-evolutionize, the bottom line for them is spiritual. But they know that we deal in the 3D realm, and that we only think in the 3D realm sense, and that we don't think spiritually, which is very, very sad, because if we did think spiritually, we would understand the true manipulation that is going on, and the real bottom line of all of these programs that are running simultaneously along with each other. Because there's, like I said, music, there's also the manipulation of the black family. See, you can't have the black family together because of the simple fact the male and the female principle together in creation mode is very much powerful. So therefore, if you devalue that image and you make the black male wear tight jeans and have feminine principles and flip the archetype on its head, causing confusion, people can no longer create in its original form and stance. You see what I'm saying? And it's the same thing with the club scene. If you get people to party and you pull from that energy and you cause confusion as far as what people think as far as relationships, what that means, and even sex and how we get together, if you confuse and scramble all of those ideologies and have people running amok and creating disdain, you will not have powerful creative, positive forces within the universe. Because if you look, I'll give you an example of what I mean.
Real quick, we gotta have other people call in.
I'm sorry, I just get on a rampage because what you guys are talking about is so deep. But I just wanted to comment.
It is what it is. Everything you're saying is exactly what it is. You know, and if you're seeing it from your perspective where you are, and we're talking about it here, that means again, there's how many other people in the world saying the same thing. It's just that in me, as I said to Gutierrez, my concern is me, my family, my house, my people, my nation. You know what I'm saying? But first, my creator. You know what I mean? And when I go out during the day, I have to love all of the things that the creator or creatrix has created. You understand what I'm saying? Indeed. Therefore, by being the original, you see what I'm saying, our job is to be received by the children who maintain the cultures after we left. In this 3D reality, our people have forgotten that role. Therefore, that role has been forgotten by the other cultures that we're talking about. And therefore, they latch on to the one culture that seems to exist, which is this fictitious, illusionary culture that we can collectively call the demiurge. And that is reality, physical reality, 3D reality itself. Therefore, when we speak about the truest enemy, we are talking about the actual existence of everything and nothing at the same time that is manipulating people through lower vibrational entities that have a certain degree of artificial technology that they've brokered to be able to find a way to amalgamate with us or through us to be able to breed us out or breed us more into them. Therefore, now on TV, let's say in the media, you will see only people rapping now are the so-called Caucasian kids, and all of the people doing rock and all of that are the black kids. You see what I'm saying? It's been a whole other flip. But I came up from the era when police was killing people for trying to put up graffiti pieces, for trying to put up art. You see what I'm saying? So again, we're talking about exactly, and then selling it for millions of dollars from the death.
The boxes just sold for like $500 million.
Everything. Yeah, they bastardize everything, and I'm probably older than everybody on the line, but I completely understand what you're saying.
But you see what I'm saying? So essentially, we definitely appreciate you calling, sister.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank
Queen.
you.
Yeah, the homie from Metallica sold Basquiat the boxer for like $500 million. Something like that.
See?
But, I don't even know how he owned it. They said that some dude found it in a basement and just gave it to the dude from Metallica, and now he could just go and sell it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know where he get the jurisdiction for that, but, you know. We're going to go to the next caller. 561-629. You are on with Super Heru Radio. Peace, Queen.
Peace.
So, it's Ann from your class.
Hey, what's up, Queen?
Nothing. You know, earlier when you were talking about some of the so-called conscious rappers, like Talib Kweli and Mos Def, did you also forget to mention, like, KRS-One? Because my teacher, my high school teacher, gave me a bunch of his records and pretty much just introduced me to him. And I was, like, listening to his beginning records, like Criminal Minded and stuff, and I can definitely notice, like, a change. Like, he was all about, you know, self-construction and healing the community, and now, like, he was in that movie Good Hair, and, sorry for cutting you off, but I don't know how true this is, but somebody in the chat room mentioned how he, he's promoting this liquor called Seagram's, and it just seems like his fire's changed. Like, all he sits there and talks about is how hip-hop is dead, how they don't put him on the radio. And, like, my grandma's dead, and she knows hip-hop is dead. So, I mean, I just feel like he's not saying anything. Like, one of my favorite albums by him is the Spiritual Minded. That's the type of stuff that I want to hear. And I know he's conscious. I know he knows something, but it's not coming through, like, in his music. And it's like,
how does that make you feel? As a listener, how does that make you feel?
KRS-One?
Yeah. Well, how does it make you feel that you know that he has something that he can give, but is not giving it, but it's giving it?
It sucks because, like, there's nobody, like, I know there's you and, like, Supernova Islam, but there's nobody, like, conscious like that saying anything. You know what I'm saying? It sucks because I don't know, like I don't know if he has something to say, but he's just, like, he'd rather sit there and talk about how everyone's a robot and how hip-hop is dead. And I just wish that there was somebody out in the mainframe that would speak up.
Well, I appreciate your call, man. I appreciate your insight, man. But to add on to what you're saying, I think he is just in a position that he has to maintain his position, or else his position will be taken. And his position is his position of rap. You know, everybody has their little name, and then that becomes what they are in the game. You know what I mean? 50 Cent is the bully. Ja Rule is like the affectionate thug. Nas is the deep one. Jay-Z is the paid one. You know, Biggie was the great one. Tupac was the best one. You see what I'm saying? Lil Wayne is the new one. Like, everybody has their little thing, and that's how they organize their society. Like, if we get into the deeper aspect of this stuff, we're talking about people in positions of power that people materially would look at as, let's say, senators, congressmen, or whatever. On their level of the game, they are dealing with both material shit, and they're dealing with the shit that nobody really is really talking about. You know, the ritual shit, the secret program thing, all of that type of stuff. So they have to okay money that they never know what it goes to. But it could be like $10 billion, you know. And then something happens one day where they got to go and they got to see what this thing was. And for all you know, it could be some new type of virtual torture device or whatever. Either way, it's a game that these guys have chosen to play, and that game is basically how much of this planet we can rape and make money from. You know what I'm saying? Which, again, money is the ritual that keeps it going because it's the people's belief in it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
They need it. That's the anchor that's keeping everybody here. That's why every record that you hear and every movie that you see and everything that you see is about money, because that's the only thing that people want to, like, people will die and come back to this motherfucker just so that way they can have a big house in this life. You know what I mean? You got people doing that. This is the type of spiritual kamikaze shit they're doing to people's, you know, soul, you know. But the people that are doing this don't have their own soul. What they have is kind of like a base animal spirit that is now commingled with this fourth dimensional gray type cloned out, you know, putrid being that is then a physical representation of a non-physical or non-physical entities, right, that give it the knowledge to create the artificial technology that the so-called white man will then use to harness our energy to feed all of that. And all of that is a part of a thing that we all call creation, right, or what we would call the physical world or the real world, right? This is what all of that is. So essentially all of this shit is just a means to keep us here. You see what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying people should go kill themselves. I'm just saying that essentially the process of being here is to remember what you have and bring it all together to create a version of you that can then bring this understanding further along through the different timelines on a multidimensional, multi-spiritual level. Most people are can't even understand what it is just to be able to breathe, just to be able to get an erection, just to be able to grow fingernails. You know what I'm saying? There's life forms in other or parallel realities that want to find a way to contain it. You know, they can't be here, so they'll use this beast to do it. So, you know, again, I don't want to be long-winded, but thank you for your call, Ann.
All right.
All right.
Bye. Thank you.
We got 804-283. Hello.
Hello.
Peace.
I just wanted for you to expound on how you were saying that the lower vibrational beings are using the technology to to keep us down and everything, and being that us conscious, we understand and realize what is going on. But I noticed that a lot of my peers, because I go to school here at HU, and everybody I try to talk to, and at least on a basic surface level, try to explain what is going on. Everybody thinks I'm crazy. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of, are we gonna a lot of our brothers and sisters that are, I guess, so low that they just don't want to realize, and I guess it'll be too late before they do realize or something like that?
Well, first, thanks for your call, brother, and congratulations for being, in the system but having this level of consciousness.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's not really about them. Like, what I would suggest to you is don't even waste your time on building with other people who are not on this frequency with you. If you got a lady that you could share it with, that's dope. Then y'all can build on it together. But other than that, unless you got like one strong partner, I wouldn't waste my time. Don't try to talk to people in your family. Don't try to convince nobody nothing. Don't get into no debate. Don't, let niggas know what you. I'm not saying keep shit from people, but I'm just saying don't invest your energy in trying to save people, because it's not about that. What it's about is you getting to your level of excellence individually, which then will allow you to come together with everybody else when the time comes to be able to do whatever it is you're supposed to do. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, essentially, most people are not going to make it because they have chosen not to. So you got to let them be slaves if that's what they want to do. So long as it don't impede what you're doing, you good. You know, light a candle for them, you know, create an altar for yourself, you know, and for your ancestors, and, you know, say a prayer for them if you want. But in the end, it's not really about them unless they come to you for the knowledge. And then you got to be able to tell if they sincere or not. Because the man will send niggas to you, that's their family first. You understand? Because this level of consciousness, you have to understand. There's only 1% of the... We represent 0.01% of so-called conscious original people building on it on this level. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
And this is basically a rough graph that me and my brother came up with just by doing averages on the amount of people who hit us on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Us doing shit like that is being able to see how far the consciousness, in terms of what we're putting out, is doing. So I'm not really concerned with what anybody else says or does. I'm not going to participate in debates or arguments. You know, things like that you don't have to do because you've already got to a point where you're beyond that.
Yeah,
you know?
I just noticed that I've lost like a lot of friends, and even like people, even family members, you know, that I thought would understand in a way. It seems like it's too much for them. You know, they're stuck in that religion mind state.
You know, your friends and your family will accept you for whatever you are, and you know, even if they don't accept what you're about, they'll at least, you know, give you the respect and understanding to, you know, respect what you're about. So if they just drop you like, you know, like a bad habit, that's because they never cared for you, and they, you know, and they may not ever care for you. You know, at some point in time, like my brother said, they may, you know, gain a level of respect for you, but you know, for the most part, if you come to them with something and the first thing they got to say back to you is something negative, automatically that should be telling you something about how they actually feel about you. Right. You know, they want you to be down with whatever they down with, and if you're not down with that, then automatically you're an enemy. Like we were saying before, there's no middle ground anymore.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
You're either with them or against them. Exactly. Ultimately, when it comes down to what's going on now, if you are reaching the level where you reaching like mad people and you get mad take like that, somebody's having sex with you. You know what I'm saying? That's just what you have to do it. There's no way that you can be in it and not do it like that. So if you're going to come into the game in anything you're doing, and I mean this is in everything. It's not just music. This is in carpentry. This shit is in plumbing. This shit is in everything, yo. Do you know that 10 NASA-trained technicians are now licensed plumbers in New York and have been working on an underground filtration system that's supposed to go from the Eastern Hemisphere to the Midwest? This is the level, again, the level of the game that the enemy is taking it to. So,
2 minutes.
So, boom. That's basically it. But thank you, brother, for calling, man.
All right.
All right? Peace.
All right. Peace. We got one more call. I just let the person in 718-930. You know, we got 1 minute left. I think we should extend it to about 2 hours next time, I think, bruh.
Let's do it, bro.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Hey, Queen. How are you?
I just wanted to tell you, Aseer, that I appreciate what you're doing. I learned a lot from you. And also, do you think that with this new information that everybody's getting in the hip hop in hip hop world, you could say, is gonna open up a new door for like the new young generation to come in with some more conscious music and like just knock out this main industry stuff out?
Yes, Queen. Well, first, thank you for calling. Thank you for it.
Thank you.
To wrap it up real quick, yes, it's definitely happening. Just for the fact that we are always talking about it and thinking about it and putting it out there. So all we got to do is keep doing that, keep building on this. Everybody keep tuning in to Super Heru Radio. We're going to try to extend it and make it hot. And we're going to keep it up to date with prevalent information. Next week we're going to have a book list for everybody can tune in. And the 7th caller, if we get that many, we'll get a free DVD. And my website is www.aseerthedripoftears.com. My brother's website is www.sagasadali.
MySpace.com/Saga Asad. SAGAASAD.
That's what's up. everybody. Thanks for tuning in to Heru Radio. Everybody, please, let's all give a praise to the ancestors for letting the Saints march in. And this new year, which is March 21st, we're going to have a great new year. And this is our time to start rising. That was a symbol that everybody is on. Now we've gone from red to green. Everybody's basically activated, and we're about to take it up spiritually to the next level. And we in.
I say, peace.
I say.
Super Heru Radio.
All right.